What's up, everybody? It's Jairo from the Grind Fitness Training Systems. Welcome to another topic. All right, today we're going to do the power of unilateral training. Unilateral training just basically means single arm, unilateral, one side to the other. So it's either one arm stuff or one leg stuff. So most strength training in the gym is bilateral, which combat sports is not. So think bilateral, think like back squat, deadlifts, bench press, shoulder press, all with the bar is all bilateral, two arms at a time. Combat sports is not like that. So you got to understand that unilateral training for fighters is like a non-negotiable. And how that translates over to, let's say, strength training is that no matter if you are doing your main lifts, which is like deadlifts, back squats, things like that, that's one exercise, and everything else around that should be unilateral because it's gonna transfer over to combat sports almost immediately. Okay, where most people go wrong, or why they go wrong, is because they do mostly bilateral lifts when they think gym. Now, what happens with bilateral lifts is they hide imbalances. Everybody has imbalances. It doesn't matter how fit you are to some degree. You're left to right, left arm to right arm, left leg to right leg to left leg. There's always going to be some discrepancy of coordination and or strength and or skill, whatever it may be. So the more you're able to do single arm and single leg stuff, the more you're going to improve your CNS system, the more you're going to improve the athletic IQ to the body. Basically, you're communicating better from one side to another, which translates over to a lot of combat sports, especially like in MMA. You see it a little bit more now in MMA. I've been watching MMA now long enough to where, let's say 15 years ago, 20 years ago, a lot of the strikers were very dominant on one side, either the left or the right. Now, you notice the new wave of strikers, they're unilateral, so they can put right hand in front or left hand in front, right foot in front, left foot in front, and it's because they've learned how to use from one side to the other. It's the same concept when it comes to the gym. So the more you can do unilateral work, the more you're going to be able to train the CNS, the more you're going to learn athletic IQ, which translates over to combat, whatever combat sport you are, whether it's grappling, whether it's striking, whether it's wrestling. Again, it's not a matter of whether you should do it. It's a borderline. You have to do it when you're training. Again, I already said a little bit of this. Most fighters have one dominant side, which translates over to strength gaps, which you don't want, which translates over to poor control, which you don't want, and you also run the risk of injury, which again you don't want. So the better you get at unilateral work, the more you're going to close those strength gaps from left to right, the more you're going to have control from left to right, the more you're going to reduce the risk of injury from your knees to your shoulders to your arms to everything. So the goal here is to learn how to control and power off of one limb at a time. And it's a requirement when it comes to combat sports. It's not like a need. It's something that you have to do. It's not a desire. So when you're doing strength and conditioning, when you're doing all this other stuff, yeah, it's important to do the main lifts, which are bilateral, deadlifts, squats, bench. Those build overall power, but you need to learn the unilateral aspect of it. So again, it's a requirement when it comes to stuff like that. So programming concepts. What does all this mean? And you using single arm stuff. So let's say I'm just giving you simple stuff here. You're going to do single arm, or you're going to do Bulgarians, which is single leg stuff. You're going to do single leg RDLs. You're going to do step ups. This is all upper or lower body. On the upper body, you're going to do things like single arm rows, single arm dumbbell presses, shoulder presses. You're going to do one arm, let's say racks, one arm carries, things of that nature, where each individual limb has to work independently. Now, why are you going to do this? Because all this type of training, what it does is it increases the strength of your stabilizers, increases things like your QL, which is a muscle in your lower back, which is the primary stabilizer for you to avoid back pain. So the stronger your QL is, the stronger your core is, the less likely you are going to feel like back pain in your lower back, which is awesome. So QL pain is a common thing that I've noticed in a lot of grapplers. A lot of grapplers have a lot of QL weakness. So learning how to do this in the gym is going to reduce the chronic discomfort that you feel from a lot of grappling. Because in grappling, at least, like I said, I've been doing a lot of grappling. When you're doing a lot of grappling, you're doing massive hip flexion, inversion, so that strain puts a lot of stress and stretching into your lower back. And your QL, if you don't learn to strengthen the QL, over time it starts to create chronic pain, which is what we don't want. And the same thing with the obliques. We want to be able to kind of increase the stabilizers of the obliques. Another plus of the unilateral training is it makes your CNS communication stronger. Okay, basically the brain to the spine to the muscle tissue, or whatever required movement you're going to have, that communication increases over time. And then another benefit is it goes back to reducing injury at the joint level, especially at the knee. A few more benefits of it is the more stability. You're going to create more stability in scrambles, which, again, why would you not want that? You're going to create more controlled striking. Why would you not want that? You're going to reduce the joint strain. Why would you not want that? And on top of that, you're going to also raise your athletic IQ. And what athletic IQ is basically proprioception. So you're going to be able to, your timing is going to be able to be better. The way I'm thinking about it is in wrestling, where you're going to be able to control like a sprawl and move into the next action because you're able to use one side compared to the other. And it's the same thing with striking. If you need to go left to right, it's an easy transition because you've worked strength on each side individually. And that really is what the goal is, to train in a way that translates over directly to your combat sport. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment down below. I also have something that you can subscribe, some free stuff. You can subscribe and get a 7-day free reset journal. Oos, guys. Thanks for watching.